Yeah, cool. How did everyone find that Leeds Fin sites then? Just take yourself off mute. I want to hear some opinions.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty informative. I didn't know too much about debt. Like it was a lot like, about obviously the catastrophes of debt, and that's not always the case. It was like biased to that way because that's what the talk was about. But I thought it was very interesting.
Hmm. You done amplified trading as well, right?
I did. I had to leave halfway through. I finished my investment banking role, and then my headphones died, and I was in the library the whole way through, so I couldn't really watch the video for the asset manager or like anything else. So I just thought I'd leave it there. But yeah, I thought that was really good actually. I thoroughly enjoyed that.
Good.
No, so
Actually, in the one that we did last year, we didn't have the asset management part. It was just the investment banking activity, let's say. So how was the
sick.
asset management part done?
Well, I'll move on to that one in a minute if you just put the
Okay.
slides up.
Okay.
We'll get through housekeeping first because I want to get through that. Um, yeah, so cameras on. However, it's a safe group. Like, we all know each other. Bat them on. There's no reason to now. Keep mic on mute, but there's not really a point unless you're really chatting. Chat box is there to use it. Yeah, that's that. Before I move on to this one, you'll be pleased to know that I actually got the highest return on investment in amplified trading in the asset management. So you're in safe hands. Although Omar got a very good execution score as well, I think.
Oh, nice.
But going back to the fund managers meeting, what did people think of it? Because I thought it was quite interesting.
I like the what Jacob put, kind of the performance of all the different groups and their own group. I like that.
Mm. Yeah, I
Anyone
mean,
else?
yeah, someone shoot for it.
I'm not gonna lie, I got very confused halfway through. I found it easy when it was like people asking to buy shares off me when I was the investment banker, but then when I had to like flip it around and work out how much I needed to sell shares and make a profit, like it was
Yeah.
just the flipping of that when people were asking to sell shares to me. That was crazy. I got
Yeah,
confused.
the managing the spread was crazy hard because you had to go through how much you could manage your risk and sell it with, and how many clicks. But with asset management, my execution was terrible because no one was replying. Um, but it is what it is. Back to the fund meeting, we're the only ones who have spent thus far, to my knowledge. It's definitely changed now. And I'll go over our holdings now. There's holdings with everyone in. I'm back home. That's why. That's my nan. But yeah, if Gonzalo, you could move on, that'd be good. So we'll quickly go over a market roundup. Tesla's been included on the S&P. Massive. Shares have soared, I think, 18% now. Moderna have came out with a vaccine, which I think is 94.5% effective. Markets went right off that and dipped again. Citra and research on Neo, that caused a massive tank. Bitcoin hit 17k on Tuesday. Good news. I know, James, you shot me a message on that. Sweden's reporting growing COVID cases, which is pretty big considering their initial response in March. UK government's announcing no petrol or diesel cars after 2030. Initially, it was 2040, got
Okay.
brought back to 2035. Now it's 2030.
But actually, I mean, it will be allowed to sell hybrid cars, which I kind of don't
Yeah,
understand. I don't know why they don't go somehow straight from, from this situation to only
mm,
electric vehicles anyway.
yeah, crazy, isn't it, man? UK, well, Boris Johnson's self-isolating now. Um, Institutions have started to buy up Palantir, and I mean absolutely humongous. Most institutions, I think, are buying 80% up on their current holdings, which is huge. But it's good news. I'll get around to it. The Dow Jones hitting 30k, massive. Airbnb is going to IPO. They've already give out some initial public offerings to current hosts, but it seems as if they're not really biting. So it could spell a bit of trouble in paradise. Airline equities are all up, usual stuff. Anything consumer-based, energies as well. And Zoom's just pretty much died at this point. I think we've all came to realise that. Yeah, needs resuscitating. So our fund meeting was initially consisting of a portfolio of Walmart, Tata Motors, PayPal, Alibaba, Pfizer, and BioNTech. Walmart, that's performing good, Gonzalo, really good. Tata Motors, I'm not sure who suggested this one, but this is really profitable.
Omar.
Yeah, shout out, Matt. Good profitable trade. I think we're like 5k up on that. PayPal's just started break even again after Bitcoin hit 17, 18k, partly because they facilitate crypto transactions now.
Actually, Dan, sorry to interrupt you.
Go for it.
Do you mind if we show the platform while you talk through the companies, so they see the real profit at the minute?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so I can see that we've got many more. Okay, let's go first to. Do you want to repeat everything? So we have Walmart.
So that was you, Gonzalo.
Okay, actually, this is not a bad idea to order them. Okay, so Walmart.
Yeah, so Walmart entry price of 140, now trading at 150. Bit of a decent profit. I think it's like 0.5% overall.
Tata Motors. Oh, that's a nice candlestick.
Yeah, really nice. Good trade. Worked out okay. Time in the market, bit of pandemic mixed signals. It's not too bad. Tata Motors, really good as well. We've took up a few shares on that, so we're probably going to be keeping that one. Pfizer and BioNTech, I think that's near the top because it was one of the first bought.
United Hill. Oh, I should have.
Oh, there's PayPal. We'll do PayPal. All right. So Pfizer here. You can see some dots on the chart. That was from me. I was actually trading this one when it hit the market open and on the pre. So it absolutely exploded in pre-market. So I shorted it and actually made a bit decent profit. And then I found its support and we've since maintained a position. Yeah, it's doing okay. It could be doing better. Like every other vaccine, it's kind of peaking then dipping again. But we've got a bit of a plan. So if we go back to our slides. Yeah, just go through, skip that slide. Right, so new strategy. Shout out to Omar on this one because I've had a good few chats with Omar about this one. So we went with this following strategy. We've bought the bonds now. We're going to go with ESG, electric vehicles, tech, vaccine providers, vaccine distributors, and we're going to keep a bit of dry powder to swing trade or maybe top up where there's a bit of an opportunity.
What is that, dry powder?
Dry powder, cash.
Okay.
Yeah. So it is why this strategy? It's really risky. It's really exposed to research and research reports, earnings, changes in consumer behavior and government policy. Prime example being the Citron report on NEO. It absolutely collapsed from 52, I think, to 43, just off formal report. But we'll go into the holdings a bit more down the line. But risk versus reward is fairly balanced, and everything's hedged. So the losses are going to be made up by the profits and vice versa. So it is a pretty safe strategy in my opinion. It's looking to capitalize on key macro trends, basically. So bonds. We're chosen from countries who are deemed risky, but they repay, and they're not reliant on oil. The reason being oil is going to go through a massive volatility area as we come out of lockdowns, etc. So it could go down. All depends on OPEC and how they want to manage it. Bear in mind, Russia and Saudi have just had a war. They're losing billions in their economy, so we want to stay well away. EVs, really good sector to be in right now. we've got full Chinese exposure, and the benefit from a Biden presidency.
Why
Plus-
do you think electric vehicles might benefit from the Biden presidency?
Because Trump is very anti-China, he really wants to shut their trade down, and with Biden, he's a touch easier on it. So it is an interesting development, even though he's not officially been put into office just yet.
Right.
Plus, China have an electric vehicle subsidy, so I think it's worth up to 45 grand. So it helps actually Chinese citizens buy electric vehicles. So there's almost a guaranteed demand. But Citron Research, which is a short seller, have just launched an attack in the form of their report, basically calling the company a sham. It worked to an extent, but institutions have loaded up and the company's found a support level again. So that covers EVs. ESG, I think, James, you brought up a good point of Iberdrola. That's included, don't worry. There's a growing need for this throughout our sector, or through society. As we come out of COVID and the pandemic, and oil is pretty much teetering on its big return, there's going to be big climate change issues. And so ESG is going to be a big sector to grow into, as that takes up the slack of the lower oil demand. And we want to really be on the best side of climate change as well. Next slide, Gonzalo. By the way, if I'm going too fast, I know I want to ask a question. Just take yourself off mute. I'm trying to keep it quite short and sweet tonight. So tech's seen a massive change of events. They're rotating out of like pandemic stocks, so Zoom, maybe Peloton and a few others. But we've chosen a recently IPO software firm, looking to avoid the effects of changing lockdown rules. This gives confidence in the value that no matter what the global outlook is, we're going to benefit from it. And I think you'd be quite impressed by the choice. I think Omar knows this. But this is where the strategy really comes into play compared to the others in the challenge. We're looking at vaccine providers and distributors. So a vaccine's needed, point blank. It is the world's exit strategy. Revenue set to explode. The governments have got the contracts. That's pretty common sense. But to hedge it, we're looking at vaccine distributors because that's the bigger issue. Providers get to work on their vaccine, but it needs to be shipped and stored, and they're not going to do it. Apart from America's war program, which is privatized, we're really going to dip into this, and that's where we've really went long, because we want to capitalize on these growing revenues and almost guaranteed demand throughout 2021, which is when the vaccines are due to get delivered. Cool. Notice the pattern? Yeah, we're targeting COVID-19 supply chain and large. Amazon, you'll see in 5 minutes, honestly, but no. We're targeting COVID-19. From distribution to storage, we're going to cover almost every aspect of the supply chain. Everything's going to experience demand, and we want to get every angle. Contracts are key. They've already been awarded. I don't know if you've been watching the news or anything. The European Central Bank and the European Union, they've all got their contracts sorted. The UK has got their contracts. The US have got theirs. Russia and the Philippines, everyone's sorted now. It all depends on delivery. Oil markets being circumvented completely. Although there's swings to be made, I do agree, but it's too risky due to OPEC not consistently cutting production. So we want to stay away from it. We're looking at not really having results now, but Q1 in 2021, because that's when earnings are going to be posted. It's going to be timely, hedged, and fairly balanced in risk. And I think now we'll get on our holdings, I believe. Just move on there, Gonzo. Great. So bonds. We're looking at Brazil, India, Turkey, and Egypt. All development economies, all with high yields, and they're all deemed institutionally risky. But they all repay on time, and they're not oil reliant, so we can capitalize on the 200k a lot better. And for those who are at the fund, you'll realize it almost mirrors Jacob and Alex's strategy of going into, I think, the Caribbean. We've mirrored it to a different extent. The positions being took, that's 200k gone. I think we've allocated 25% in each. Sorry, we've allocated like 4 or 5% in each.
Can you please explain us how you did that on Exante, if you don't mind? I mean, it
Yes.
might be later or at the end of the meeting.
Perfectly good question. we've not done them on ex ante because we've had to touch of trouble. But I've put them on a spreadsheet. Jacob is the fund manager. He's well aware of the trades that were made. Entry position, so that's him handled there. So ESG, we're looking at Iberdrola in end phase. Iberdrola, James, do you know about Iberdrola?
Apart from the research that I put up on the Facebook event, not too much. I know that I think it might have dropped a little bit since I put the comment in, but I just know that they've got a massive focus on sustainability, one of the biggest out of any of the energy companies.
Yeah, fairly accurate, yeah. So Iberdrola has got a global geography across Europe, and I believe they mainly focus on wind farms. And end phase is more European as well, focused on solar energy. Only 2 positions because we really want to throw more into more areas of the portfolio. And I'll quickly get the percentages up now of how much we've put in. Perfect. Put that in there. Yeah, cheers, Omar. If you can take up the slack for percentages, that'll be ideal. Is that all right? Cool. So EVs, Neo, Xpeng, and Li Autos. Yeah, fairly content. I think Neo's got a lot of growth room. It's got a high PE ratio right now, but if you've realised they took a massive dip after the Citroen report, and then they bounced back, and then they posted Q1 results. And I don't know if anyone's seen the Q1 results and put a bit of analysis behind them, but I'm starting to see a bit of potential there because for the past 2 quarters, I think they reported 30 and 40% year growth in revenues. This time they've seen 12 or 15, I think, from the top of my head, anyways. So there could be some production issues and maybe production capacity limitations. So Q1, I want to try and see maybe some expansion in there. Otherwise, it's going to have to be traded out. Xpeng and Li Autos, equally as strong as Neo. A bit smaller in the growth, but a lot more room to get growing. Neo takes precedence in this one purely because of the hype behind it, the growth potential. No, they don't. And they've also just moved into Europe, and they're moving into battery production. You might be thinking, where the fuck's Tesla? Right? We don't have Tesla for one reason. It's really overvalued right now, in my opinion. And point blank, that's it. It's very volatile because of what Elon Musk and his influence on the company. I'm sure you've seen Twitter when he said it was overvalued, and then it dropped massively. Anyways, all those positions are taken in electric vehicles tech. So we've got 3 interesting companies here: Palantir, Corning, and Thermo Fisher. Hold on. Just pop that slide back there, gone so really quick. Yeah, cool. So Palantir, software company, recently IPO'd. I think it's now reaching $19 on the market. We got on it 14, I think. Fairly good. Corning, really, really interesting, and it links to the vaccine distro. They've got some links, but they produce glass, right? That's what they do. They produce glass, but they have contracts with Apple to produce glass for their Apple Watches and the phones. But they also have contracts with the biomed industry to produce glass for vaccine producers in their experiments. And obviously they're guaranteed to get some growth. I think we've got a fairly good price, and earnings have been consistent, strong balance sheet, etc. Thermo Fisher. If anyone's heard of these, please flag it. Otherwise, I'm more than happy to explain them. Thermo Fisher produce freezers. And everyone knows Pfizer has a freezing problem with the vaccine. It needs to be stored at -80, and Thermo Fisher do that. And they're the monopolist brand in the market, so we've capitalized on that. It's not doing too well at the minute. but I'm hoping that it does better in the future once production goes up. Next slide. So distribution, I'll go over Cryoport first. Cryoport actually has links to all three of them, I believe. Omar, please correct me on that one, but I believe they have links to all of them. DHL, German, they've actually got freezers in position already. I think they've got like 90 freezer farms. FedEx, yeah, cool. The DHL are building them. FedEx have got them, and UPS is American, so they've got Pfizer and BioNTech on their side. Notice how the geography is all distributed, and it's all hedged against each other. So if one does well, the other might not be doing well. The profit and the loss will all make up in the middle. So we'll never bomb out or lose too much money, essentially. So BioNTech, Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, Moderna, and AstraZeneca. These are really important. BioNTech and Pfizer, they were the first to come to market. Obviously, if you're first, you get the prize, right? So they've got contracts all over now. But Pfizer, obviously, they've got the -80 storage issue, and the pre-market collapsed after. Luckily, we've got a decent position in them. BioNTech are partner with them. They're German, so it's good for geography again. Johnson & Johnson, they're yet to actually announce results, so we could see some good profit. So I'll advise on what will happen after that once we cover Moderna. So Moderna, we took a position previously around 88, just after when Pfizer and BioNTech released their results, and we got in at 88. And once Moderna announced their findings of 92%, obviously now it's 94.5, I think, or 95, it shot up. It really shot up. But then, like BioNTech and Pfizer, it dropped off a cliff. So we shorted it and we got out of the position. So we took profits and we're looking to get back into it. And so that's the plan for Johnson & Johnson and AstraZeneca. But AstraZeneca, the reason it says pending is because there's a few issues with the London Stock Exchange on ex-ante. Jacob tried to buy Carnival and we were trying to buy AstraZeneca. We couldn't. But it will be bought and it will be short sold and it will be bought back again to follow up on the strategy. Just to maintain the dry powder that we mentioned earlier. Move on from that. Cool. So what want your input? I think we've already had some at the chat. We all want to diversify our holdings, and we've got dry powder to do it. That's why we've kept it. So this is a rough summary of what we want. One, what the company is, what to do, overview of the market, bit of trading data, current price action, and a bit of a summary. No need to go in depth. Just keep it short and sweet. Who they are, what they do, bit of market analysis. Give us some data on it. How they've been taking revenue. How's it compare to the last quarter? How's it been trading currently? Is it spiked? Is it been flat? Give us a little bit of a story. And with that above, tell us what you want us to do with it. Do you want us to go long? Do you want us to go short? How many shares do you want us to buy? Because ultimately, it's everyone's fund. And we're here just to facilitate ideas. I've took many from Omar. I've took some from James. And I'll continue to do the same. We'll continue to adapt the portfolio as time goes on. If something needs to do, like get traded out, it will get traded out, and we'll put money into something else, which will be beneficial. So that's our strategy and portfolio. And now I think on the next slide, yeah. So if anyone's right, just a quick one. If you see anything relevant on the news, whack it on the group. Plain and simple. That's about it. And you've seen how to read the news from Alex and Jacob. Just follow the advice. Next slide. Yeah, so quick shout out to Omar. Mass respect. You've put in a lot of effort, especially with brainstorming the strategy. Yeah, you know exactly what you've done. So I think if you want to take yourself off mute and just explain what you've done, if that's all right, that would be good.
Hi guys. Thanks, Dan. Yeah, just me and Dan, we were talking about for the past, I think, 2 weeks now about the strategy. I sent him a message and he pitched in the original idea just to focus on vaccine distribution and yeah, just about the strategy. And since then, we've been talking a lot. We've been discussing the companies that we should invest in, doing research together. And yeah, it's been quite good. We decided all the allocations together and yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, just a bit of daily chat about stock price, how they're performing. Everyone should be doing it. Ideally, I know James, you've been sending a few little updates about crypto. It's appreciated. I do like it. You'll probably be the next one to get it, senior, if you keep going like this. We want some ideas off you, point blank, simple. That's why we're all here. We've all got a common interest, haven't we? But this is our strategy. So I want to hear some feedback on it. What do you think? Is it suitable? Is it not? Just take yourself off mute and go ham. I'll put it in the chat.
Yeah, I like the strategy a lot. I think you've done a fab job, guys. Some good diversification, some good hedging. But yeah, like with the large exposure with the electric vehicles, I don't know if we might want to reconsider that, because I know they're just so volatile, as like the Citroen like research showed. So like, what price in mind do you have if it's a 15% of our portfolio for NEO? Like, what kind of price are you thinking of? It would be good to come out at and things like that.
Yeah, so I don't know if you just read the news, but XPeng got a price upgrade, I think from Morgan Stanley. I think NEO did as well. Lee is probably going to get one too. I'll probably see NEO around 70, 80 after Q1. I'd like to see a similar jump from all of them, because I've noticed they all tend to travel with each other. So when Lee Autos got a huge earnings report, I think it was Lee Autos, it might have been XPeng, everything jumped up as a result. So it was more representative of China's aggregate demand of electric vehicles, and I think that filtered through. So hopefully that can continue. But like you say, I am happy to readjust, take profits, trim positions, because I've done that already on Moderna, and I would like to apply it to EV as well. Yeah, cool. Cheers, Omar. Anyone else have any thoughts about any of our holdings, or want to question the allocation or price targets, price entries?
There's a company called Electra Machina or something like that.
Yes, I've heard of these. I was reading about them this week.
So I don't know too much about like the fundamentals, but I know a broad overview. They're based in Canada, I think Vancouver, and basically they're trying to find a gap in the market where it's like very small electric vehicles, and I think they've also got some work in the pipeline about designing some like classic car styled electric vehicles, which could be a kind of cool niche market there. I know that they've grown like 80% or something in the last week. They're still at like $7 per share. Could be worth something just to keep our eye on.
Yeah, I think this goes to everyone really. If you think of a company, at least look at the fundamentals, because that's, as asset managers, to those that actually traded in the amplified trading event, fundamentals matter more than technicals per se for the most part, and our leverage, our gains possible by going long over the time period that we'll have, they're going to be greater than going short constantly. I mean, Gonçalo, do you agree?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean,
So
we just need to study the fundamentals. I mean, I I normally like something like 70-30. I mean, 70% of fundamental analysis, maybe 30% technical analysis, because I think it is always good to look at what the company has done in the past. But I mean, yes, I mean the stock market is about the growth and the revenue of a company in the future. So yes, that is the most important thing, clearly.
Is it Shusei or Shusai? If you could speak about Peugeot, that would be appreciated because it looks interesting because the French government seem to be taking a similar approach to the Chinese.
Yeah. I was just I guess that was, it could be the beginning of this year when Tesla was going up. And I saw this news on Bloomberg saying that the French government and the German government kind of collaborated together and planned to make a mega factory for EV batteries. And I guess that was for Peugeot and Opel and stuff. So that factory must be so good for Peugeot because it was invested by government, and yeah, the French government is planning to increase the subsidy for EV owners. It's like 6,000 right now, but could be 7,000 from next year. And the P ratio and stuff, it was not too high. It was like 6 or around 6. Then after the kind of news that Peugeot and Fiat were kind of agreeing or like had a stronger kind of determined to work on together for development. It was like a few weeks ago, and then the price kind of increased, so its ratio is like around 10, just below 10. But
nice.
Still not too bad.
I mean, if you want to produce maybe a short report about that, maybe 200 words or so, just a quick like rough structure that what I went over, and pop it over on Teams, that would be ideal. Jaya, what do you think?
I'm still like a bit new to this, so I'm just processing things. Otherwise, I'd probably ask more questions. So
not a problem. Not a problem.
On like a broad kind of, I think that it sounds like a good idea. I don't really know much about it, but I've gone to some events and they really advocate ESG. So I think that that's a really like it's actually interesting. I only know a little bit about it on more of a qualitative basis, but yeah, no, like I said, I would ask more questions, but I feel like I'm just trying to process what people are talking about and stuff, just learning at the minute. So yeah,
no problem.
A bit more out, then I think it would be nice to form some kind of pitch or something once I understand a bit more about how things work. So.
No, not a problem. I mean, you can thank James for the ESG because he put that one in my LinkedIn inbox. Haley, what's your opinion on space travel and tech? What's yours? You tell me about yours, and I can provide mine.
Well, I've got like a holding in Virgin Galactic at the moment, and it's doing quite well for me.
Nice. What was your rationale behind it?
I don't know much about it. I just know like there's a lot of talk about space travel at the moment, with especially like Tesla's potential for that as well.
No, agreed. I mean, SpaceX just launched, I think, yesterday or 2 days ago. That was a really good launch for anyone that wants to watch it. Space travel, my opinion, it's not going to be able to be monetized enough yet, in my opinion. Not for the time frame of our virtual fund. In terms of tech, I want to really stay away from anything like Amazon or anything like Peloton or stuff like that because they've really shot up. I mean, personally, I shorted Zoom last week. As you'll short, I didn't do it for the fund, unfortunately. If we can get into some maybe earlier stage tech businesses like Palantir, that would be ideal. There's a lot of room to grow. Gonzalo, if you put up Palantir's chart, I can talk over it. Cool. Yeah, so you can see our position there. I think it's like 15.8.
Yes.
Yeah,
15.6.
Even better. So we got in. I was reading. I'll answer that one. No, we're not. Not yet. Soon though, maybe. If we see potential for a return, we could possibly do cruise lines as well. I'll speak about that one after Palantir. So Palantir, they produced an earnings report, and it was great. I don't know why people avoided buying it straight away. So I thought I'd jump on the train after going over the balance sheet, a bit of fundamentals, in previous highs and lows after earning reports. And I thought it would be a good opportunity to jump on an early kind of tech startup, which has just IPO'd this year. It's got real world use, bit of a competitor for Amazon, and we're in profit a little bit. So I'm happy with Palantir. Moving on to airlines, and I'll talk about cruise lines as well in this one. I don't see travel returning, even though there's a vaccine, on the basis that people will be quite fearful to travel, as well as there being a lack of infrastructure in airports to facilitate the testing required that countries are looking towards, especially for hotspots like Italy and Spain and France, where the vaccine just ripped riot. Essentially, they're going to need an infrastructure. I mean, if anyone disagrees, pop up. I'll debate it with you. But there needs to be an infrastructure.
If you let me give my opinion about that, I mean, the thing is that once the vaccine arrives, it won't be, okay, the vaccine arrives, the population is vaccinated, and everything goes back to normal a month later. No, I mean, a year from now, for example, November next year, we will probably be vaccinated, but families will probably have a lot less money. So the people need to start kind of saving again, and then get that confidence to start maybe spending some money traveling. So I mean, that will take probably 2022, 2023, something like that. So, but we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, Luke, what do you think of airlines and cruises, if you're around? Just take yourself off mute if you want to. Cause I want to collect a group-wide, like a fund-wide opinion, really kind of drum up something. Oh, not a problem. Amin, what do you think of this potential trade idea of airlines? Take yourself off mute and put yourself on camera if you feel the need. Yeah, good comment, Luke. I agree. It's not within our time frame. Yeah. I mean, James, do you have any particular targets to invest in? Did you get that?
Probably not.
No. James, have you got any stock targets that you want to invest in for airlines?
Sorry, my Wi-Fi is terrible. I must have missed it. It keeps cutting out of it.
Don't worry.
I wasn't ignoring. Well, I mentioned the airlines because I think I read BA's planning to roll out some testing on its transatlantic flights. I read somewhere else that apparently the week of November the 25th is predicted to be one of the busiest periods for airlines since the start of the pandemic. So whilst I agree with you on that, like fully fledged travel will just not be anywhere near its pre-pandemic levels for a while, probably 2 to 3 years. I think as long as there's some confidence that stocks might just still increase a little bit, and people start making holiday bookings in the future, I think. But yeah, it's obviously still speculative. I just read those 2 pieces of research, and I think Boeing could be an opportunity as well, because they just had their like 774 or something or other approved to fly again. So yeah, just I know they've been beat down a lot, and I think there's a lot of upward potential, whether that's now.
James, I don't really have a bit of a go. You might as well keep your mic on for this one. But you've read the story about Boeing. There's the 777 being announced as safe, as you read. Who's buying a new airline? Who's buying a plane?
Yeah. Don't know.
I mean, how much money have you got in your pocket? We can all chip in for one if you want. Yeah, we need to. Yeah, it's a good point. I do like the potential of it. Yeah, if everyone can just come with a new story, even just like what Jim's done, or what Omar's been doing, or what Gonzalo's been doing. I think Ben Cox was doing it as well. He dropped a nice one about some biomed firm. Yeah, if you can read the news, pop us a message on LinkedIn, on Teams, Instagram, Facebook. Just pop us a message, and I'm more than happy to discuss the trade idea and see if we can get some sort of exposure to it. Whether we'll go long or short, it totally depends on the rationale. I'm all ears for it. That's why we're here. Art science. Oh wow, I know you suggested art science before, and I didn't really look into it. But if something conclusive comes of the research and they've got a goal in mind, that would be a good one. If you want to go on mic and talk about it, that would be appreciated. Yes, no. I assume no. I mean, I know it's been a pretty heavy day for those that have done amplified trading and Leeds Fin sites. I know you were there, James. I think you write for them, right?
What was that? I missed it. You cut out.
No, that's all right. You write for Leeds Fin sites, don't you?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Yeah. What team are you in?
Deals. So I was thinking of actually writing about the Airbnb IPO, potential IPO.
Cool. Do that, because I'm TMT, so tech,
okay.
Media, telecommunications. So I covered McAfee's IPO and Bitcoin recently. On the note of Bitcoin, before I go on a tangent, Bitcoin facilitate cryptocurrency transactions, and we've seen a massive uptick in Bitcoin. So that is being held on the books because we're not allowed to invest into cryptocurrencies, but we've got exposure of the prices through PayPal. So that's why that's going to stay. I thought that was a good little point to bring up. But if you can whack out that IPO, that'd be great. Because personally, I don't see it going very well. They've got absolutely hog loads of bad debt. But that's your research. I'll let you do that one.
You should see it, I think, the 30th. So I'll send you all the link.
Nice. Do that. Pop it on LinkedIn. Yeah, totally all right, Amin. Why are you at the airport? if you've got the battery for it, unlike
I told you, airlines, mate. Airlines.
That's it.
Probably not relevant, but just another. I'm literally like spitting out whatever I've read that I thought was interesting, just as a contribution. But I know there's some big hydrogen testing for like boilers in the UK. They've got like a massive, not massive, it's actually quite small, but like a cool testing facility up in Scotland, just north of Hadrian's Wall, where they have a couple of houses and they're testing these hydrogen boilers, I think hydrogen cell boilers, whatever they are, as like a renewable way to reduce household emissions from gas and electric heating. So that if there's anything that's even publicly traded to do with that, I'll have a look into and put it in the Facebook.
Well, actually, you bring us to a good point. Before I was investing in the N phase, which is the solar technologies, I was going to invest in some company called Trig, and it's a renewable energy infrastructure group. And they're basically a holding company that invests in clean energy. It's great. They've got a really good structure. It's too much for me to talk of. It's a good report. If anyone wants it, pop me a message and I'll happily send it over. It's really easy to understand. Trust us. In response to Jaya, what sectors, what kind of interests do you have in daily life? Like, if you take yourself off mute and just chat about interests.
I'm not fully certain. Like I said, I feel like ESG sounds really, really interesting. Like I went to I just feel like a lot of companies are talking about it, and I've asked them like, do you think it's like a long-term thing or just, and they always say like, do you think it's like a short-term or long-term thing? And they always say like, they definitely think that it has like a lot of potential and it's here to stay. So I feel like if I did any sort of research, it would probably be around that kind of thing. But like I said, I don't really know what I'm doing at all. I've just put it.
Of course. If you're interested in ESG, I would really suggest just typing into Google ESG companies. And go from there. If you want a good one, Goldman Sachs Asset Management produced a report this week that peak oil demand will be 2028. Yeah, 8 years time, peak oil demand is going to happen. Quite sad, but that's where we are. But no, that's it, Jaya. Just take an area of interest and give it a Google. That's what we do.
Okay. Well, thank you. I'll just try and keep an eye out, I guess. But yeah, I think that it can be quite. I feel like I'm just like learning how to just develop commercial awareness and reading the news kind of thing. Like I feel like it takes a little bit of getting used to, I guess, when you're not used to doing it. So yeah.
But just a quick one before I let sorry, I'm really sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name.
Yeah, don't worry, nobody does.
You can correct us later about it. But Jaya, me and James both write for Leeds Finsights. I'd highly recommend checking out our articles. So if you go into deals for James and TMT for me, have a little search. Really good for commercial awareness. But go ahead, mate.
The newsletter as well. So I'll check that out actually. But
nice.
Thanks for the reminder.
Panagiotis. I'm really sorry I butchered that one. Yeah. Go Ham, what's your thoughts?
Well, I was doing homework, that's why I didn't speak during the rest of the talk. So
no problem.
I'm basically very interested in Skyworks. I don't know if you know the company. They're the main supplier for 5G of Apple, and they actually are going to supply them for the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth too. So I think it's a very interesting company. We can see that as a part of our portfolio.
What do they trade on? Is it the S&P or?
They're on Nasdaq. I don't know which one. Or
Skyworks Solutions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could you bring up a window for that console with a bit of due diligence?
Yes. Here it is.
Cool.
So basically, the hype for 5G is not hype now. So yeah, but they're still a strong company that they're going to provide Apple for years, I think. Until
I mean, if you can produce a little report in the format that I mentioned, that would be ideal to bring to the next one. Because I really want to let you take more control of it and chat more, which is great. But I'm very aware that Gonsor has to leave in 7 minutes time. So if anyone has any final thoughts, conclusions, summaries, go ham. I'm assuming that's all good then.
I was thinking, maybe just a good thing to do would be just listing maybe some of the criteria of what you'd like to see from some research, some of the key points that you're looking for in when we're producing these ideas.
Yeah, Gonzalo, if it's not a problem, could you bring up them slides again? I know I'm
Sure.
being a bit needy tonight. So if anyone has got a pen and paper next to them, take this down. I want to see revenue. So whether that may be quarterly revenue, how it's grown quarter to quarter or year on year, trailing 12-month revenue, enterprise value, how much the business is worth, what the profit margin's like, net, operating, gross, EBITDA, market cap, which is outstanding shares times the share price, because that's a factor. Current price action, has there been any notable dips, notable peaks? Have events driven them? You tell me. Short summary to follow with what you want me to do. And obviously give us a bit of a summary at the start. I mean, if that's simple enough, I'm not asking too much, right? Just put like a yes or a no in the chat. Well, I'm assuming that's okay then. Perfect. Cool. So I'm very aware we've all had a long day, so I'm happy to cut now. If anyone wants to stay on for an extra 5, I'm here. But apart from that, you're free to leave. Yeah, that's it. That's a start. That's what I want.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah. See you later.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Pretty sure Omar's going to stay on after this.
Cool.